Well, hi everyone. Welcome back to Womansplain. Today we are discussing one of our favorite concepts, and that is quiet luxury and deals in the luxury and consumer business.
Yeah. And specifically, we're talking about fashion unicorns or beauty unicorns. So, businesses that are valued at over $1 billion. And a lot of these businesses that we'll talk about today are started by celebrities.
Which is awesome. And I think I love the idea generally that there are now fashion unicorns. I think when the idea unicorn first came out, it was very much about tech. And that was like that buzzword out of Silicon Valley. And it was really, based on companies like Facebook and Instagram, et cetera. They're really tech companies that hit that $1 billion valuation. But now beauty and fashion are really getting that same level of attention and investment from investors, which we love. And, I think we're the first one that comes to mind. We're going to start talking today about the Row that recently took its first round of investment of $43 million at a $1 billion valuation.
Yep. So the Row was started in 2006 by our favorite child actresses, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. And in 2006, I feel like, quiet luxury really wasn't a trend. So I think they were the first kind of movers into this quiet luxury, kind of like an Hermes, but, less loud. All their products, they don't have logos. It's very like, luxury,
Understated.
but simple, understated, cashmere sweaters, bags that don't have any logos. So I think they were the first movers in this kind of fashion company. And now I think there's a lot more like Kate, which is also quite luxury. But I think it's really exciting that they took their first investment.
It is.
And the investment was by the family offices of L'Oreal and Chanel.
Which is awesome.
And also they took some investments from the founders of Net-a-Porter and also Moda Operandi.
Which is really exciting. And I think the Row is such an interesting example of a celebrity-owned brand, because I think when you think of celebrity-owned brands, you don't think of ones that Mary-Kate that like this, that really Mary-Kate and Ashley have tried to eliminate their association with their celebrity, I think, as much as possible. I think especially when it was first founded, no one had any idea that they even owned the Row.
Yeah.
And
even recently, I had no idea.
Like literally no idea. And I think
it.
they do that on purpose.
Yes, exactly.
Because also the brand of the Row is to be extremely understated. And it's like the point of it is like this, beautiful black coat that's like $9,000, but it looks like a black
never
coat,
know.
right? But like if you know, you know.
Yeah.
That's like sort of like the whole idea. It's like Loro Piana too.
Yeah, exactly.
And and everything they purchase is supposed to be extremely luxurious and like gorgeous, and it lasts forever, and
Good
it's
quality.
an investment piece. And nothing in that store is under $3,000.
No.
So that's just sort of like the point. And it's supposed to feel very exclusive.
Yeah.
And so I think because Mary-Kate and Ashley are obviously most well known for like their VHS tapes as children, which personally was my entire childhood. I loved them. Like their mysteries and stuff. They felt like maybe their, I guess, celebrity would actually negatively affect the brand.
Yeah.
So they really just kind of tried to make the Row as understated as possible. And they probably have gotten like the most knowledge and association from this deal. So it's pretty interesting.
No, I think that's a genius move for them to kind of separate their personal brand and identity from the Row.
Totally.
And I think they're the first kind of celebrities that did that.
Yeah.
Which is very different from, Kim and Skims and Selena and Rare. And I think that really helped the company really grow. They kind of stopped posting on social media, on their personal profiles. The Row also just has a lot of, just art all over. And it's really different from normal type of fashion companies that celebrities have started.
Completely. And I think this new investment too is just really elevating. I can't think of a celebrity-owned fashion brand that's this level of luxury.
No.
I think like celebrity-owned fashion brands tend to be not luxurious, honestly, and usually more affordable, because it's usually just kind of using their platform to, appeal to their fans. And most of the time, like the celebrity itself tries to make it as affordable as possible. And I think, Mary-Kate and Ashley did the opposite, where I think they just designed a brand they like. It is very much their style, right? You see them and they're like always in very just simple, understated, expensive clothing, right? And it just seems like they're actually just designing things they like, which is interesting. And despite sort of how under, they haven't even used their own celebrity. The row has been able to be extremely successful with no investment for 20 plus years. They, almost 20 years, I guess. They, are at 250 million of sales, which is extremely impressive, from what we can gather. They say they've grown 20 to 30%, consistently year over year, which is incredibly impressive in this industry. And they're also now kind of switching to more of a brick and mortar strategy, which is kind of the reason they took this growth equity. I think they're looking to open a Paris store. They're looking to, start men's brands. And so it's really interesting to see where that's going to go. I also love, I think their selection of investors were so particular too. Yeah. Like having the Chanel family obviously is just a huge like boost of confidence. It just like gives them like that like stamp of approval. Like if there's anyone that can define luxury, it's Chanel.
Right.
And having, as well as even like L'Oreal, which owns so much consumer luxury brands, there's a huge roll up, as well as Net-a-Porter and Moda Operandi, which obviously will carry their items. So I think, and, allows for just such a good synergistic relationship there.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. And they have really been focusing on a niche target demographic. So I think that's why they were able to do really well and see this 20 to 30% growth year over year, especially during, COVID or any other type of economic downturn. The people that shop here aren't going to be affected by, this type of like clenching for cash and not investing in luxury. There's nothing in the store that's under $3,000, as you said.
Yeah.
Cashmere sweater, $3,000. A trench coat, $10,000.
Literally.
So, I mean, like, I'm sure like the number of products that they sell is definitely lower than other type of luxury
They probably barely
companies.
even produce that many. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like honestly, they probably make some. They actually are probably quite profitable because the big issue with retail being profitable is that they do not sell like. They only sell about 30, like an average retailer only sells about 30% of its products full price. And then they end up actually throwing away a ton.
That's why there's so many sales.
So many and there's so many issues. And like they actually end up burning a lot of their products. But when you are able to be this level of luxury, you actually are able to just literally curate so few items. Like how many $10,000 trend coats are you really going to buy?
Right.
Like 5, honestly, max. And so you can just produce 5 and that's it. And so you don't have this like loss of inventory expense. And obviously like you just have way less upfront costs.
Yep.
And you have higher margins because of that. So it's a better business model. It's just a lot more difficult one.
Yeah. And I think the fact that they only have 4 physical stores currently really speaks to that. And the fact that they're opening in Amagansett, they're opening in Paris, they only have stores in LA and New York City.
Yeah.
That really plays into the whole exclusivity as well.
Totally.
And like, as you said, if I feel like there's only a certain number of people that consistently are loyal customers.
Totally.
And they're going to be loyal customers for life.
100%. And they are like investment pieces as well. So it is the type of thing where because even though they are extraordinarily expensive, the items are high quality and they are simple and classic where like they aren't going to go out of style. So it is something that like maybe a person would buy one thing and have it for 10 years, right? So it does have that appeal as well. If you're like, look, I do really need I need a nice trench coat I'm going to wear for 20 years, it is a place you would go. So that is like, the nice focus there. But I'm excited to see, how much they're really able to grow because I think, a company like this, the market is really limited. So I wonder how much much bigger they're able to get. I think men's is like, a good way to go and maybe have, entering Europe or internationally. Yeah. I could definitely see it becoming a very popular European brand or even like in Asia as well. And like taking advantage of just the immense wealth and like new wealth that exists, internationally. But it's just the market itself is really small. So and they have grown to a good point in 20 years without any investment, but I am curious to see how quickly they're able to grow and get a return on growth equity, which equity is expensive. Yeah. So I'm interested to see how that goes. And I think there are a lot of competitors entering the industry too, like a Kate, and like honestly cheaper knockoff versions of it that people can wear as well, that are, may eat into their market share. So I think they're still going to have to be able to stay competitive.
Yeah. I mean, I think the fact that they're entering menswear will be huge for them. It'll be like a Laura Piana. And I think there's an untapped market there because I feel like for men, there's not that many, quiet luxury type of brands like this. And also, I think they're really establishing like certain key pieces that people are investing in, like the Hermes Birkin and the Kelly. I know they have their Margot bag, which is very, very simple. You wouldn't know that it's cost $10,000, but it does. And I know like that's been top of mind for a lot of consumers. I think on Google, like the search for the Margot bag has increased 300% the last year or something like that is what I read.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's going to be like the piece, and it's also going to be, I think, like similar to a Birkin and a Kelly, and like you just can't buy it. So I think that's also a good type of strategy.
Totally. Having like, I feel like bags are a good strategy too, because it is like an investment piece you can weigh with everything. People are like more willing to buy it. And there is like such like a, I don't know, second hand retail market for bags as well. So I think that probably increased their popularity. I also wonder too, given they took investment from L'Oreal, if they're gonna start a beauty section. I mean, they used to have like Elizabeth and James, which was like a cheaper version of the row, and it was very similar. I used to wear it a lot, but it was like they had a lot of like cocktail dresses and things like that, really cute like tops. It was more like in the $300 range, so I could actually afford it, but like it was quite cute. And but they ended up shutting it down, I think, just like lack of interest, and they wanted to like reinvest in the row. But Elizabeth and James had beauty as well, so I wonder if maybe they're gonna bring that back, and considering their investment from L'Oreal and their huge portfolio of brands in the beauty and luxury space, that may be another area of growth for them.
Yeah, I think this was a really good strategic move. And the fact that they have L'Oreal, there's definitely that, avenue of beauty, as you mentioned, Chanel bags, accessories, and then, Net-a-Porter and Moda, like that's where they carry the items. So they definitely thought through all the supply chain and like distribution as well. So I think there's a lot of room for growth for them.
Yeah, totally. I'm excited to see where that goes as well. And honestly, we'll see, how they make a splash internationally too. I think that would be interesting.
I think that would be really interesting, especially in a market like Asia.
Totally.
And I think the consumer is really obsessed with logos.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Korean, Chinese consumer, like plastered in logos. So I actually don't really know if it'll do well in a market like that. So I'd be curious to see if that is in their growth plan.
Totally.
But I think in Europe, like it could work for sure. But I feel like, they just have to kind of see what their target consumer is and, the culture and see if it'll work.
Yeah. I feel like their target consumer is also older a lot of the time as well. So like, I feel like, their average age is just older.
Right.
So.
I mean, a 20-year-old can't afford it.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, it's definitely like very old money and like older and stuff. So. That will be interesting to see. And like, honestly, I just love seeing more interest in just investing in beauty and consumer. And, even with like celebrities that are well funded. I mean, like Fenty Beauty, for example, is like also almost $3 billion worth.
Which is crazy.
It's still owned by 50% of Rihanna, which is also awesome to see. And I love how, the Olsen twins have completely run this business themselves, which is very impressive. And are still going to be, the main owners of it, by vast majority. So it's interesting. And so it's like, I love that celebrities are still like really running a business, like being a CEO despite their other, talents.
Yeah.
And Rihanna has done the same. So
yeah. And I think she was also like the OG celebrity kind of beauty founder.
Totally.
And I think she also did well in terms of marketing, kind of not really like involving her brand as much. And we see the same thing with Selena Gomez and Rare, which is also a unicorn.
Which is awesome. And like, I think Selena really didn't originally use her connection, and then she did over time. Like, she's the most followed woman on Instagram, fun fact.
Oh, love.
Which is crazy. But yeah, and that's really sort of like, enhanced her net worth. Is like also because, she took some time out of the spotlight as well. And I think now she's like kind of reemerged and so popular that she's been able to like maximize it. But it is interesting to see the celebrities that really utilize themselves as the platform. Like, like Hailey Bieber is like, Rhode is her, right? That's completely her. She's the model for it. She's the person for it. And there's a lot of celebrity brands like that. And then there's sort of like the opposite, like the road. And it's just depending on really what you're looking for. And even though it's probably easier to utilize your own platform.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And talking a little bit about Rare, Selena Gomez, self-made billionaire now.
Yeah, crazy.
Rare is valued at, I think, $2 billion.
Yeah, which is insane.
And I think a few weeks ago or months ago, they were in talks of maybe taking that private as well. or public, sorry. And I know she's kind of shut that down. So
yeah,
I mean, there's definitely pros and cons of doing so.
for sure. I mean, I think the market is also just really tricky right now. It's like a hard place to be public, and I think just like anything, like we've discussed on in a couple of our episodes, consumer brands are hard. Beauty's a little easier, but it is it's just a tough place to have scrutiny when like sales are up and down. You can have bad quarters. It's quite seasonal. And like hitting targets are pretty unpredictable. And beauty itself is just a really competitive space to play in. So I can honestly see the really more bad sides than pros to being public right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what Selena did well was also like the focus on like wellness and diversity.
Totally.
I think that was kind of the first type of celebrity-led brand that focused purely on that. And I know she has like another company that's focused on wellness that's apparently like valued at 200 mil right now.
Good for her.
So you just got to differentiate somehow, I think, in this market, no matter like if it's a celebrity-led brand, like, no two brands are the same.
Yeah.
So especially right now with, focus on diversity and inclusion within the beauty space.
Yeah.
I think she did really well there.
For sure. I think Rihanna did that too. Did really well, especially with Fenty. I think like her level of shades and really focus on women of color. I think that was really, really, who have obviously been underrepresented. Has been really, really good. She had like her lingerie brand too.
Yeah.
Like very much focused on like diversity of body shapes and which is awesome. And I think that was a really great avenue for her. The Rose, the complete opposite.
Yeah. I mean, that's why they have such a niche consumer brand.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. And
you
honestly,
just gotta pick one.
Have high quality options. So,
yeah.
Maybe it's just more about just picking what you want, focusing and leaning in. So, but honestly, we love female founders. We love seeing more women taking investment.
Right.
And we love just seeing the investors generally being more interested in believing in like the beauty and consumer worth.
Yeah.
And I think, and it's like, I think no man will ever be able to really, know what women want the same way women do. So I think especially in just the beauty such a female dominated space, it's really important to have more female representation in founders.
Yeah. I do wonder with the Row, because their whole business model was being, understated, low key, and not really on social media, like with this new wave of social media, like I wonder if that'll kind of change their business strategy.
I do. I mean, I think just this huge wave of attention, I'm assuming that they are going to have to like invest more in advertising and marketing, etc., because they're going to need new people to buy stuff. So
that's fair.
The only way to reach out is to do that through social media.
Yeah, so, but would that like kind of ruin their brand,
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think it definitely might. I think it definitely might.
The beauty of it is like so that it's so like exclusive.
Yeah.
And now if like everyone owns the Margot, it's like
why?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's so expensive. That's never going to be like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I mean, we'll see. I guess like I don't know. I guess Hermes has a lot of social media and Birkins and stuff. So
yeah, and it's still kind of exclusive.
It's still kind of exclusive. Sure. Yeah. I think maybe it's more about just limiting the product.
Yeah.
And because also like getting like a frenzy for something that there's so much demand and little supply.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
is a good
for
way
sure.
to do it too.
Cool. Well, I think that was, I'm really excited for the Row. I don't own any pieces, but maybe
exactly.
soon.
Maybe I'll get a Margot one day. And, thanks for listening. Obviously, stay exclusive, stay luxurious, and we're excited to see where the Row goes.
Yeah, and if you have any suggestions, please reach out to us on Instagram or TikTok, Womansplain Pod, and also on email, womansplainpod1@gmail.com. And we're excited to talk to you guys next.
Thank you.